Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm Callum and this is your home of nerd culture, hyper-organised lists and barely relevant speculation. In this series, I'm going to be going through what I've been consuming in the past week on the various streaming services. But before we get into that, here's how this is going to work. Because we all have different tastes in content, I'll be covering all grounds, and I've got 8 different categories that I'll be talking about. Firstly, there's my weekly watch. Now this is the TV show that I've been watching every week episodically. Then we've got my must-see pick. Now this is either a TV show or a film that I think that you just cannot miss out on. We also have categories for docs, box set binges, movie nights, as well as podcasts, albums, and my weekly special category, which this week is making the most of lockdown. Now that's either a TV show or film that has made the most of this trying situation and still tried to produce quality content. Starting off with my weekly watch, which this week is Killing Eve. This BBC America production is available on iPlayer and follows the stories of Villanelle and the titular Eve, as they navigate corruption, crime and murder, one as an assassin for hire and the other as a detective. Currently on its 3rd season, Killing Eve continues its intriguing story and concise writing, and also builds on the elements of humour, gore and violence to form a really well-rounded show. It's definitely worth a watch if you haven't already. Next up is my must-see pick, and if you've got Disney Plus you probably know what I'm going to say, and it's not the overcomplicatedly named High School Musical series. Mandalorian initially released late last year, but has been releasing weekly ever since the UK release of Disney Plus. The whole series is now available to binge watch, so there's no better time to finally cave into the House of Mouse for the sake of $5.99 a month. The show follows a bounty hunter operating in the Outer Rim territories of the Star Wars galaxy, doing odd jobs and generally just trying to survive. That is until he gets wrapped up in crime syndicates and Imperial loyalists, as he just tries to do what is right. A beautiful addition to the Star Wars canon and able to boast some of the best directors in the business, Taika Waititi and Jon Favreau just to name 2 of a few. As well as this, there's a fantastic cast and stellar production value. All in all, I would say The Mandalorian is worth your subscription alone. When I'm looking for a documentary to watch, I'm not just looking for interesting subject matter, but also striking visuals as well, and Netflix's Have a Good Trip offers that up in spades. A look into psychedelics and stories of the famous names who have dabbled in them, this documentary film takes no side into the debate as to the positive or negative aspects of using, but lays out the facts about their uses and warns about their abuse. Interjected with great framing from Parks and Rec's Nick Offerman and Adam Scott, and beautiful animation styles that weave the tapestry of each person's stories, allowing a more immersive audience experience. Hey, I know documentaries about shrooms and LSD aren't going to be to everyone's taste, but this documentary does provide a fascinating insight into their uses and the people who use them, and it's visually pleasing from start to finish. I love a box set binge. I'm not ashamed to admit that in the last 24 hours I've watched an entire season of New Girl, and although I could talk about that, what I will be talking about instead is Parks and Recreation, which in the UK is available on Amazon Prime Video. But I know what you're going to say. Telling us to watch one of the biggest US sitcoms of the 21st century isn't exactly groundbreaking. And no, it's not. But that's not what this category is about. Parks and Recreation is the kind of show that you can watch in the background while you're cooking, while you're building flat pack furniture, or any of the other hobbies you might have picked up during lockdown. And that's what makes it so good. If you don't know already, Parks and Rec follows the parks department of a fictional small US city, as they compete with selfish politicians, greedy tycoons, and a backlash from their citizens. It has an incredible ensemble comedy cast, and I can't keep myself from a full watch through every couple of months or so. Okay, yes, I'm gonna talk about Disney Plus again, but it has a fantastic library of films, both for the individual and for families to watch, and that's where I'm gonna come into it now. The family selection of films on Disney Plus is phenomenal, and I could mention any of the Pixar or Disney films for this, but what I'm going to do is go for Frozen 2. Frozen 2 is a fantastic sequel to the first film, taking what was loved about that film and making it more adult and more mature for its audience that have grown up with it. Also, no matter who you are, I challenge you not to get Into the Unknown stuck in your head for a few weeks afterwards. I still have the Panic at the Disco version on my playlist to this day. Okay, let's change gear now and focus on some audio. I am a big podcast fan. I'm the kind of guy at parties who will recommend 100 different podcasts to you, and I'm not ashamed of that. One podcast that I really enjoy listening to at the moment is Fake Doctors, Real Friends with Zach and Donald. Available on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts, the show sees Zach Braff and Donald Faison jump on the bandwagon of actors who used to be or are still in a show, talking about it in a rewatch format. Now, obviously, if you're not a Scrubs fan, this is not the podcast for you. But as a big fan of the show and something I still watch to this day, it gave me quite a few good laugh out loud moments and a lot of interesting tidbits of information. As well as that, it has great guests. I mean, no living actor who was on that show can seem to turn them down. Also, the theme is catchy as hell. Performed by Zach and Donald themselves and the music done by Charlie Puth, it's a really catchy jingle. In terms of music, and hear me out on this, go to Spotify and listen to the Scoob Soundtrack. Now, this album was put together for the release of the upcoming Scooby-Doo animated film and contains songs from Charlie Puth, Galantis, Jack Harlow and Rico Nasty amongst others. They come together to create a good vibe and some genuinely decent tracks. Look, I'm as disappointed as the next guy that they didn't get Matthew Lillard back to play Shaggy, but hey, Will Forte is funny and this music is good. Finally, my special category, which as I mentioned before is making the most of lockdown. Now, there's been a flurry of Zoom and other conference call related content, including many reunions of some famous casts from various sitcoms and films. I mean, the Community one was fantastic. But however, I'm going to give this to the Graham Norton Show on BBC. Despite its current tech limitations, they've still managed to fill Graham's virtual couch with some great guests, some good laughs, and a lot of fantastic musical guests. I know it's not exactly the same production value that it used to be back when it was in a TV studio, but it's still fantastic. It produced a lot of good content and a lot of fun in this humdrum day to day. So there we have it. Those are my picks for this week. We'll be back next time with a few more picks, including a new special category. But until then, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video because we're really trying to build a new following here. And do you agree with me? Do you think that all of my choices were rubbish? Or do you think you'll give some of them a go? Until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you then.